Hello, and thank you for joining me today. Well, this is the Wednesday, August 4th. I about forgot what month it is. It's the August 4th edition of our video devotionals. And you know what we normally say on Wednesdays, don't you? Well, it's midway during the week, the work week. And you that work Monday through Friday, of course, here's your halfway point. And I know that's always great when you get to the halfway point. Then you got one more half to go. But at any rate, then also it's Wednesday evening Bible study. If you're able to attend Wednesday evening, I know that's great for everybody, for you, for the pastor, for the church, everybody. It's just a good time to meet halfway between Sunday like that, and hopefully you can do that this evening. So our theme has been 2 Corinthians chapter 1, and we're dividing the chapter up like we have the previous two into five equal parts. And basically today we're going to be looking at verses 11 through 15. So as you're finding that, 2 Corinthians chapter 1, let me say again, thank you for all who watch the videos. We appreciate you. And thank you for any remarks also that you make, any comments, and we're just here for each other, okay? All right, here, let me go ahead and read this. It says, Ye also helping together by prayer for us, that for the gift bestowed upon us by the means of many persons, thanks may be given by many on our behalf. For our rejoicing is this, the testimony of our conscience, that in simplicity and godly sincerity, not with fleshly wisdom, but by the grace of God, we have had our conversation in the world, and more abundantly to youward. For we write none other things unto you than what ye read or acknowledge, and I trust ye also shall acknowledge even to the end. As also you have acknowledged us in part, that we are your rejoicing, even as ye also are ours in the day of the Lord Jesus. And here's our last verse. And in this confidence I was minded to come unto you before, that you might have a second benefit. There's three things I want to point out here. First of all, going back to the first verse that we read, verse 11, talking about prayer there. Notice what it says, excuse me, ye also helping together by prayer for us. There you go. Now, you know, I've heard missionaries say this. They come into churches, they're trying to raise support, they're on deputation, and they need funds. There's no doubt about it. It's needful, and it's just something that has to be done. However, many times they'll often say, whether you support us financially or not, we need your prayers, and that is so true, the prayers. By the way, the prayers that are prayed, God can speak to you to help you give support or help others raise the support, whatever it might be. But people need prayers, and Paul's acknowledging the fact that the prayers are necessary and very appreciated. Then, of course, when you look at verse number 12, it talks about that this is our testimony. He says it's not with fleshly wisdom, but by the grace of God. There you go. The grace of God, another entity. You know, prayer. We touch the heart of God. We touch the hands of God. We're there to open up an avenue for help and all of that. And then when you talk about the grace of God, totally God's goodness to us without any merit whatsoever. As we're saved by the grace of God, we also grow by the grace of God. That's bestowed upon us. That's given. And Paul was saying our testimony, what we do, our ministry, is based on the grace of God. And again, just acknowledging God and who He is and what He does for us. And then also, as you look there in verse 14, as also you have acknowledged us in part, that we are your rejoicing. You know, we can rejoice for each other and what we do for each other. The prayers that are made, you know, the fellowship that we give, even the funds, the financial means that helps missionaries or other people, the work of God, all of that. But it's always great when we can rejoice for one another. We can rejoice for someone living for God. We can rejoice that someone is making it through their trials. I mean, just the fact that Paul is saying, we are your rejoicing. And of course, Paul spoke that in another epistle that, you are speaking to them. You're our rejoicing. So it all works out like that. Just think when we get to heaven, and we see the people that have been won to Christ, see the people that are there because of the gospel going forward, people that have grown, and then all that goes with that. Preachers who have preached messages to try to help people, certainly to get saved, but all the other things that went with it to help families live for God, and all of it. So all that to say, this is a good, encouraging message for us today, and pray for one another. And then, of course, remember the grace of God and how it's exclusively of God, and how we need to be in it and let it work through us. And then, of course, lastly, there about rejoicing for what people do, not just that we get things, but the fact that there's joy that is brought because people live for God, and you see God working in their lives. I think that's important. So, hope you have a great Wednesday. Hope your Wednesday evening Bible study is great. And you can contribute however you do and can, certainly with your prayers and your presence. But we'll see tomorrow as we look at verses 16 through 20 here of 2 Corinthians chapter 1. So hope you have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.